Okay, this is Ken Rosignol with the Chesapeake Today, and I'm with St. Mary's County Commissioner Eric Colvin. We're here at Fitzy's Marina, our outdoor studio for the Chesapeake Today. Fitzy's is down in Compton on Breton Bay. They had great crab cakes for open weekends. So look at their ad here with this video and you'll learn more about them. All right, Eric, you're in your second year of your second term.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so you've been the county commissioner in St. Mary's County.
Yep.
And what district is that?
I'm in the first commissioner district.
And that includes Valley Lee, Ridge?
Valley Lee, Ridge, Piney Point, St. Inigos. Stretches all the way up to Riken High School, though. So I've got from Riken High School all the way down to Point Lookout.
Does that include Medley's Neck?
It does, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, so you have all the sticks of the county.
That's true. Right? So, and it's very important that we make the distinction. A lot of times we say we represent, but no, we reside in the first commissioner district.
And you're voted countywide.
We represent the entire county.
And you're voted countywide.
Yes, correct.
Okay. You just have to live in that district.
Yes.
All right. So you've been through 6 budget cycles.
That is right.
How many times have you raised taxes of those 6 years?
I think 2 times.
2 times? And when you did it, why is that?
Because we've been in a situation where we were forced to raise taxes in order to get the revenue necessary because of mandates down to us from the state.
Okay.
When we can, we lower them back down. That is absolutely.
When you say mandates, specifically which mandates are you talking about?
Well, the biggest one is the blueprint, the Kerwin Blueprint for Education.
And for the viewer that has no idea what that means?
Yeah, that's important.
It funds the schools.
It funds the schools, but it requires, the state has this, one of the flaws of the state is that they look at every region as the same and try to do across the board, one size fits all, and so that's a problem. And part of this Blueprint for Education is that they've mandated that teacher starting salaries be $60,000 everywhere. And I'm not in any way saying teachers don't deserve it. I'm not impugning teachers in any way, but it's this mandate, and St. Mary's County being one of the wealthier counties in the state funding coming down to us is kept flat. So they say, you have to pay your teachers this much, but we're not going to give you any more money to do it.
Okay, what percentage of your budget is the Board of Education?
They're about 45% of our budget.
Historically, they've always been about half the budget.
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. So $60,000 starting pay for a teacher seems to me that, for what they have to go through, they deserve that.
Yeah.
I mean, and plus, if you expect to hire teachers, you're going to have to pay it.
That is.
Because other people are going to.
There's a shortage of teachers. It's happening across the state, and we are very fortunate in St. Mary's County that we're positioned in a way that teachers from other areas are going to want to come here. I fully believe that. Okay,
but you all are spending gurus for the whole shebang. In other words, you fund the budget for the Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
And I recently did a report showing that you have deputies making as much as $180,000 a year with salary and overtime. Uh-huh. And for a deputy to make that much with a lot in overtime, that really is an indication of mismanagement by the Sheriff's Department. So you don't run the Sheriff's Department, but you fund them.
We fund them. That's correct.
And you have on your books, you have a capital project to give them a new headquarters.
Yes.
That could cost as much as $60 million.
Well, not 60, no.
Well, it's not done yet. But all of your capital budgets are always almost double, don't they?
I don't know about that. It's not going to be 60
But
million.
This was started off at 25.
Right.
And now it's at, what, 40?
No, I think it's 30, but that's still a lot of money.
Okay.
That is still a significant
and
amount of money.
And the first cinder block hadn't been laid yet.
Right. That's correct.
Now, do the deputies really need this building to hide out in Leonardtown to hide from the criminals? Or couldn't they be out when they're working in their cars? And you have a sheriff's building, which I think you funded, on Great Mills Road, with $6 million, and there's nobody in it.
No, there's that building is getting a lot more use now than it used to.
Well, they had a murder across the street, and people ran there and knocked on the door, and there wasn't anybody home.
Right. So there's, when we talk about teachers, but you talk about policing and how difficult policing has become nationwide. There's a lot of backlash against the people who have gone into law enforcement profession, and it's a very difficult profession. It's difficult to recruit, it's difficult to retain, and so we have to, if we want to keep St. Mary's County great, we need to be able to recruit and retain these professionals. And the people we have do a great job, and they're working really hard, and we got to support them with it. That's just how it is.
But do they have to have a big building to support them?
I think they need more space, yes.
For what?
There's a certain amount of space that's needed for evidence storage. I mean, the length of time that they're required to keep firearms that are surrendered. All kinds of different stuff goes into policing, and I'm not in no way an expert on that, but it's something that our sheriff's department works very hard on.
Okay. When that concept of coming up with that building was designed, I've had other county commissioners tell me they never had any citizen involvement on a space needs study. It was all concocted by bureaucrats in the sheriff's department. When didn't it occur to you that you should have citizens involved in helping to decide what kind of space is needed?
We definitely should, and we do to a certain extent.
I mean, when they show up at meetings and gripe about it.
Well, yes.
But how about in the planning?
And in the planning, okay, that's we need to leave it up to our professionals to design the buildings that they need.
Bureaucrats know best?
No,
Come on. You have all kinds of professionals that live in this community that work on the base that are
That is true.
you have a very educated workforce and citizenry here. You tell me you can't find some farmers of common sense?
No, I'm not saying that at all. But we have budget hearings every year, and this has been a part of the budget. It's going through our CIP process, and there's plenty of time that people can provide comment and feedback to it, and we always welcome that. We always are open to feedback and comment.
Okay. Well, now that we're talking about our professionals and bureaucrats, did it occur to you that maybe they were taking too long to widen Route 5 in Leonardtown, like
Yes.
5-6 years?
Yes.
To do 1 mile of road?
I like to compare it to the bridge that they built to Virginia in, a year and a half? Like, that was absolutely incredible how quickly they built that and how long it took to do the Route 5 widening.
And still they ended up with no traffic light at Moakley Street or at the hospital.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
That's state planning for you there.
Okay, when you go across Route 4 to California to turn right on FDR Boulevard,
Yes.
the geniuses that designed that left no right turn lane to FDR Boulevard. Do you think maybe you could talk to the district engineer for the state highway and ask him to fix that?
I believe that's something that has already been brought up, yes.
Well, brought up, but what's being done?
Well, state is short on funding also, and that's why they...
Do you know these guys that are our delegate and state senator,
Yes.
Morgan and Bailey?
Yes.
Have you ever talked to them about that?
About that specifically?
Yes,
No.
specifically, that
No, I have
intersection.
not.
Okay. Well, do you think maybe you will?
I think I will.
I mean, can we
yes.
ask you today to do that?
Yes, I definitely will now.
And now you grew up here, so you
Yes.
know about the little bridge across St. Mary's River at Great Mills.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got a delegate down that way named Brian Crosby, who is just as ineffective at getting anything done about that as Senator Roy Dyson or Delegate John Bohannon before him or Delegate Deb Ray. Nobody's done a damn thing about it all these years. So you have 2 lanes there restricting the flow of traffic coming up from Nessie, Webster
Yep.
Field, and from the base.
Yep.
And in the morning, it's the same thing going the other direction.
Right.
Now, the state highway had a plan submitted to them
Yep.
in the 90s to widen that road and make a reversible center lane.
Really? That far back? I did not know
Yeah.
that. I didn't know.
Yeah, and they said we couldn't afford it, and they also said that we couldn't ever have a traffic light at Indian Bridge Road.
Would have been a lot cheaper to have done it back then than to do it now.
Well, they got the traffic light at Indian Bridge Road. That happened, okay? But still, we have people campaigning on taking care of that intersection, and nothing ever gets done.
So I will tell you that the state has come to the county and said, we need certain right-of-ways and access on county-owned property there, and we have granted that. So the county is not the holdup.
That's
in
for
this
the canoe
process
launch
at all.
park?
Yes, yeah. So the county we're doing everything we can to not be in the way of the state when they try to get this project.
Well, you don't have to worry about being in the way of this state.
Yeah.
You could probably get it done this faster if you asked the state of Iowa to do it. Okay. All right. Talking about crime.
Yes.
All right. And we're not really talking about the official crime done by elected officials in Maryland. Plenty of that. Okay. Down here, it's been kind of boring in this area. You haven't had too many elected officials stealing money recently, last few years.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Do you know of any?
No.
Okay. So most of the crime is done by criminals.
Yes.
All right. Well, actually, we had the sheriff's department stealing evidence in 2002. They had to give it a lot of it back, and nobody got charged. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But it's usually been in drugs. So we've had a lot of street corner black drug dealers being busted for small amounts, and the big white dealers being let loose, all through the administration of Richard Fritz, who's state's attorney. And we have a new state's attorney, and we have a new sheriff. Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll finally see anything done about the drug trafficking in this county, or just be batted around as a political issue?
No, I absolutely fully believe that our sheriff and our state's attorney are working together and will target it. I mean, you got to remember, it's not an issue that's isolated here. We're seeing it everywhere with the open borders allowing the transport of the drugs in, the pharmaceutical companies that cause the opioid epidemics. It's all connected, but I fully have confidence our state's attorney will crack down tough as she possibly can on any drug dealers.
Okay. Traffic, again. I mean, you can't really talk about life in this county without talking about traffic.
That's true.
Route 235, you have a lot of traffic problems. Mm-hmm. Same area Sheriff's Department has motorcycles. You never see them doing traffic enforcement on Route 235. They're only for parades and funerals. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I would think that there would be safety issues with motorcycles and traffic enforcement, but I'm not a law enforcement professional. I'm not sure what the standard is or the policy is for that. We definitely have a lot of traffic issues in the county. Just the other week I was driving my son home and we were approaching an intersection, not a new intersection, a long-standing, been here longer than I have intersection, not a light, just a T in a road, and someone pulled out right in front of me, and I thought that was the end. I thought we had...
I saw you put that on Facebook.
Yeah, and so my ask of people is slow down, not drive slower, but just slow down, be courteous when you're driving, take care when you're driving. You know, the traffic impacts all of us. You're going to get there when you get there, but don't cut people off. Look both ways. Take an extra minute to look both ways and be safe, because the number of stories I've heard of just people running red lights,
well, maybe that's why you need motorcycle cops out there giving these people tickets.
Maybe.
Do you know how many motorcycles the Sheriff's Department has?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, maybe you can find out. Ask the sheriff.
Okay.
And maybe he has a plan. Ask him if he has a plan to use them for traffic control.
Well, I know that our sheriff has really focused on traffic safety. He's done a pretty good initiative working with the state's attorney and working for traffic safety, but there's only so much you can do. They can't be everywhere. We don't live in a police state, and they can only be so many places at one time. But it's difficult, yes.
Okay. What do you want to talk about today?
I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I've asked you lots of questions. Are there any issues that you'd like to talk about that I haven't asked you about?
That's a good question. See, I wasn't thinking ahead.
Well, you're sitting here with the Breton Bay right behind you and the Potomac River, okay?
Yep.
And St. Mary's County seems to have built up a good inventory of boat ramps all through the county, except at one place, at a 200-acre park that the county owns called Myrtle Point. There's no boat ramp. It has several miles of shoreline.
Yep.
And it has no public fishing pier there. Doesn't that seem kind of odd to you?
It's
The county bought that 30 years ago. How old are you?
Well, I'm 41.
Okay, so you were a little kid when the county
Yes,
bought that.
yes.
And they bought it with open space funds.
Yes.
Okay, it was herded through by Senator Bernie Fowler.
Uh-huh.
It was supported by Congressman Hoyer. It was ratified by the Republican Board of Commissioners in '94. And then immediately, this group called the Friends of Myrtle Point, which meant the most immediate neighbors who didn't want anybody coming around and stinking up their backyard, made sure that the county commissioners folded and didn't allow in sports fields, a fishing pier, or a boat ramp. Okay, so over the years, the county commissioner's been too chicken of those wealthy people living down around that park to take them on and actually put in public facilities there.
Right.
They put in a toll booth, okay, to keep out people who don't live here or whatever, or make people pay. Would you look at that as a way to improve access to the water for the public?
Definitely. We've got several parks that we're doing projects in right now, and now the problem is our CIP projects are pretty full, as you know.
No, you're blowing it on a new headquarters, on a hideout for the sheriff.
Yeah, we're spending money there. We're spending money. We're close to getting a boat ramp at Snow Hill Park, but that's going through the works. I believe that has to go to Critical Areas Commission for their approval. But it's going to be difficult to add any new projects into our immediate CIP project plan because there's limited amount of revenue.
The money for a fishing pier is free to you. You get it through Project Open Space and from the Saltwater Licensing Fund.
Uh-huh.
It's free. You just have to apply for it.
Nothing's free. Somebody has paid for it.
Yeah,
That's an important
yeah. The people who
distinction.
buy fishing licenses paid for it, for reefs and for fishing piers. So it's been a political decision not to get it.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look at that then.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how Calvert County got that pier on the other side of the river,
I didn't know that.
next to the boat launching ramp over there.
Uh-huh.
We got both of those through that project, through that fund.
Yep.
All right, but the politics of the wealthy people who owned property down around Myrtle Point has stopped it.
Okay.
All right, so if the average person out here needs more access to the water, we already own a 192-acre park there. It's actually has water and sewer to it because it's supposed to be a housing development originally. It's got a big water tower. Okay, so all right.
Take a look at that.
And right behind you here, there's a nice public ramp down here at Abel's Wharf, and the county's done a good job with that one. And the county has done a good job with a lot of these and rebuilt a lot of these ramps and wharfs. Bushwood Wharf, Chapco Wharf. I think you recently just redid that one. Forest Landing.
Yep. More and more people want access to the water. And in our parks, you go to any of our waterfront parks on a Saturday during the summer, they fill up. People want to be able to get out on the beach, on the water, and that's great. They should be able to. It should be open to everyone in the county, and that's one of the reasons that a couple years ago we made a push to have the county rates significantly lower than the out-of-county rates, because we want our residents to be able to have first-come access to these parks.
In the area of development, we've seen a lot of housing increase here in the past 10, 15, 20 years. All the developers, when they got shut down in Calvert County, came over to St. Mary's County, and St. Mary's County gave them everything they wanted. Okay? Gave them all the zoning they wanted, gave them access to sewer and water, everything. Leonardtown, this little pea-picking bunch of bozos running that town. Look at it now. Okay, they're getting ready to let loose for that Tudor Hall development.
Yeah, Leonardtown is one of the fastest growing municipalities in the entire state.
And when they get a heavy rainstorm, they take a big dump in Breton Bay right behind you.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what kind of oversight will you give Leonardtown to make sure they're not polluting Breton Bay or the Potomac River with new development? And that they approve development that they can handle. They just expanded their town limits.
They did.
Recently. What are they going to put in there?
So my understanding is assisted living facility Cedar Lane is looking to expand, and that's what was recently annexed by the town, the land for that, so they'll be able to expand their facility and stay within the town limits.
Okay,
but
at Cedar
Leonardtown
Lane.
has their own septic, water, sewer system, and they manage that internally on their own. They're not part of Metcom.
But over the years, they haven't managed it that well, and they keep having big dumps into the Breton Bay right behind you. Okay, and this is a county tributary, a tributary of the state of Maryland.
Yep.
So it seems to me that maybe y'all should crack down Leonardtown a little bit.
Well, I'm not sure that that's in our authority to do that, but I know that the state does.
Well, you have these legislators.
That's true.
What's his name? Bailey, Morgan, a couple of Morgans,
Yeah, a couple
and
of more.
and a Crosby.
Yeah.
I mean, you could ask these guys, you know, what's going on here? Are we going to keep on approving things? Like if the Tudor Hall development goes ahead, do they really have the sewer capacity for it?
I think they do. I think they've worked to expand their plant, and they've got that under control and planned for. So they're sitting good with
Well,
that.
you're going to be a county commissioner when they move ahead with this, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to run for another term in 2 years?
To be decided.
Are you going to run for county commissioner president?
To be decided.
People are saying you're going to.
Well, that's nice of them. I appreciate that. We'll see what happens. I haven't made any decisions.
Well, the
yet,
guy that's in there, he's finally his term limited out. He's got to go away. He's got to go to North Carolina. Okay, he's out.
He will be done being a county commissioner. And for what it's worth, I have very much enjoyed working with Randy Guy. He is wonderful to work with as a county commissioner president. He does a good job.
Great. And there's a lot of people named Guy who vote in this county, so it's a good thing for you to say that.
Yeah. So speaking of Guy, I hope everybody comes out and votes for our Board of Education race, and whoever you're choosing to vote for. We had a disappointing turnout in the primaries, number-wise. I'm sure you know that and paid attention to that. It's hard to get people to get out and vote, and these are real issues that impact the entire county, and people need to be able to get out and vote for all of these different positions.
Well, they lost like 1,000 students in the school system, but want more money.
Yep.
Do you ever scratch your head over things like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know the exact number. I don't think it was fully 1,000, but you know, COVID.
It was closer to 1,000 than it was to 10.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, and I think that we will see it creep upward and continue to rise, the number of students that are going back into the school system over time. But it's difficult. It's you know, if they lost, you know, all 1,000 students from one school, then that'd make it easy. But when it's spread out across the board, you still need the same number of teachers, you still need the same number of building service workers and bus drivers and other professionals that make our school system operate. And we are truly lucky in St. Mary's County. I know it's easy for people to cast aspersions upon our school system, but if you compare us to, I put our school system up against any other school system anywhere in the state, and you look at Baltimore and what they're doing there, and the kids are graduating without any reading or math proficiencies, and St. Mary's County is doing really good and working really hard.
Well, instead of building new homes to bring more people in, couldn't the county just encourage parents to have more children? That would help.
That is outside of my purview as a county commissioner.
Come on, let's say. Well, no, a lot of governments around the world encourage families to have more children. They pay them. Would you offer a discount to them if they have more kids?
Not. No.
Why not?
That is their decision, and I am happy for.
I mean, you might get lucky; they'd homeschool them.
Might.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Well, Eric, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, and look for Eric around a lot in the next few months and a couple of years as he continues to be a county commissioner from the 2nd Commissioner District. First, but representing the entire county.
Representing the entire county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.